like the ebb and flow of the sea.
Yes, that's the one.
When I was around 9 years old, and a little time after my family returned to the UK from living abroad, I remember a slogan which was on the radio a lot and in the media, which was "I'm back in Britain." I'm back in Britain.
Yeah,
I've mentioned this in
yeah,
another podcast a long
yeah,
time ago. Apparently, it was saying that the government of the day had difficulty to maintain the country's economy, and they made a they had a like a it's not what your country can do for you, it's what you can do for your country moment.
yes,
In other words, rallying the population to give more to the country.
mm,
Now, the I'm Back in Britain movement was to ask people to work 1 extra hour a week,
mm,
and instead of being paid for this hour, it would be donated in pro of the country to increase productivity. Right?
yeah,
So anyway, that was back then. More recently, um, successive governments have been trying to use buzzwords and slogans
mm,
to try to appease the population and gain their support. So, for example, in Boris Johnson's case, he would use the term levelling up. Right? Remember
yeah,
that? Levelling
yes,
up.
yeah, yes, I remember that. Yes,
And this was plastered on all the news channels and political programs. Of course, there's no such thing as levelling up.
mm,
No matter how good your intentions are,
yeah,
which in Johnson's case was not very good,
well,
just the use of a slogan to quell the masses and carry on with the same old.
mm,
You can only level down. You can't level
yeah,
up,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Then, of course, most recently we had the "Smash the Gang" slogan from the actual administration,
yeah,
trying to reinforce the fact that they will be determined to resolve the illegal immigrant crisis. Of course, it was all empty. It
mm,
was all empty rhetoric, as we can see how that has worked out. You can
yeah,
see that no matter how many times they said it,
mm,
it just didn't bear any fruit.
yeah,
So now, according to Quentin Letts, he's a columnist in the Daily Mail. He says we'll be hit with another buzzword, probably to try and take our minds off all the woes this administration is causing and putting the ball back into the public's court.
yeah,
The latest buzzword that will be hitting our screens and political interviews: contribution. Now, it's not in a fiscal manner, mind,
yeah.
being contributing more, even more tax and things
Mm,
like that.
all right. Yes.
Uh, I don't think even they would have done that to the public. They're saying pay more tax.
Yeah.
But it's to try and get the population to contribute more to their society where they live,
Mm,
right?
well, good. Yeah.
So think like voluntary work or participating more closely to their local councils, you know, and society clubs and things like that, or the scouts, or being present at the
Yeah.
local Dartford and Jones club. Basically it's make yourself more available for your own society and contribute more to your own society. I suppose it could be a way to try and instill some sort of local pride, but from what I've seen on the outside looking in, these sort of ideas always seem to frustrate, as when the population take the government at their word, the government usually does something to contradict the sentiment.
Yes.
So Johnson's levelling up approach fell to the wayside.
Yeah.
I reckon the contribution buzzword will follow suit.
Yes.
It's like looking at the government:
Yeah.
judge me by what I do and not by what I say.
Exactly. Yes.
So basically, we just need to listen out for contribution. It's going to be hitting the airwaves soon,
Sounds good.
and all these Labour politicians are going to start saying contribution. Use the word contribution, contribute,
Yeah.
contributed.
Yeah.
It's got all its derivations, but basically the buzzword is contribution.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good.
Put your
Yep.
crash helmet on and wait for it to arrive.
Well, okay. I'm going to address this in several, well, a couple of ways. I mean, obviously, buzzwords and slogans and are always prevalent in politics. always. I mean, yeah, we had Build Back Better. Build Back Better from what? I was quite happy with the way things were. Okay, even the one in America, Make America Great Again, the MAGA, yeah, is a slogan. What does it really mean? Okay, it's your perception of what was great in America, probably the 1960s America. Yeah, possibly that. Um, and okay, we can all look at this. And yeah, okay, it gets the message out there. It's advertising. Okay, I'll get that. Yeah, go to work on an egg or something like this. You know what it means. It's
Yep.
complete nonsense in itself, but you know what it's referring to. And yeah, maybe all the parties do that. And I'm not going to say, oh well, yeah, you've got to get a message out there. You've got to make it punchy, and then providing you've got something behind it that's that that's works or sustainable, or you can talk about, yeah, as opposed to just using it to attack other people with. Now, I grew up in a world. I belonged to the Scouts. We had people that did give their time up to belong to do run Scouts movements, um, run other things, even some church groups, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. Um, I'm going to look at this from a slightly different angle. Okay, it's nice that people are encouraging it. I mean, in my local area, the government have just they stopped it, but they were given a 1.5 million or 1.2 million grant to an old boys club, sports club, boxing club. Yeah, and yeah, I'm not going to give away where it actually is. And fair play to the local Labour councillor of the area. He's fought very hard to get this money for this club. Yeah, and I'm watching it very closely. Yeah. Um, and yeah, okay, that's what local Labour, that's what local councillors should be doing, fighting. They're the ones that should be fighting for local communities and building things and enabling things. Yeah, not governments as such. Okay, they've got to get the money, but yeah, they don't know what's happening on the ground until local people start saying things. Yeah. Um, a fair play to this guy. I don't agree with everything he says, but he fights hard for the local community on these things. Some of them are probably ambitious, some of them are probably idealistic. I'm glad there are people like him. Yeah. And he's said a few things I thought were a little bit contentious, but I let him ride because, hey, man, he's out there doing something, doing something. Um, the trouble is when you do get involved in these local communities as well, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say something quite controversial, quite here. The next thing is, okay, you live in an area that's almost exclusively 99% of a certain ethnicity, the same as us, white. Yeah. The next thing is not enough diversity. Yeah. Or you're not promoting um, alternative lifestyles or different lifestyles enough, or you're not doing this. Well, no, I'm here to run a scout group, tie knots, teach youngsters to tie knots, how to go camping, how to do different things. Yeah, not to not to be a social, not to do social comment. Yeah, I don't care who belongs to my spot, their group. If they want to be part of the scout troop, we don't care. Yeah, um, it might not be a good idea to put males and females in young males and females in the same tent because you might you might accidentally multiply the scout group by the time it comes out of it. Yeah. Um, that's just logic to me. Yeah, and there could be other issues with that as well. Um, and yeah, the other thing is it's easy to say the wrong thing. Yeah, in these groups as well, and you often hear about it getting. I mean, forget other cases have been as well. I'll put them to the side. But yeah, somebody a scout master might say the wrong thing. Yeah, man up, for example, or yeah, we need some more manpower over there. Somebody listen, you can't say that. That's not inclusive enough. Yeah, these things happen. Yeah. So yes, you've got to enable people to actually do things without any fear. Yeah, I agree that maybe anyone involved in local communities should be suitably checked and qualified to do something. Yeah. First aid training, for example, if there's an incident. Yeah. At least one or two people should be first aid trained. Um, yeah. Okay. Maybe do background checks on people. Yeah. which doesn't really mean a lot in itself, but at least somebody has done something and can prove they're of a reasonable character. Yeah. And really just allow people to carry on with their lives and to outrun the group. If it's a bakery, if it's flower arranging or communities, and this was the back street, the mainstay of communities. Yeah. The trouble is then if somebody does things like has a local historical society, which again we've both been involved with, well, I have, they then get criticised for teaching British history. Yeah, not diverse enough. I'm saying all this because this is all things that I read about in papers and everything else. So it's all part of community. So, and yeah, you can have, if you want, if you come from an area that's particularly diverse, there's no reason why you can't have an African community, history society or something like this, and allow whites to go and join it as well, who may be interested in it. Yeah. The Rastafarian Society for music. I mean, music has always been something that's always united people as well, wherever it comes from. We can all disagree or agree about rap music, maybe. I like reggae. Things that draw people in. Yeah.
It strikes me that you bought the word contribution, and I think the current government has succeeded with you anyway. You spent the last 5 minutes talking about how you can contribute,
Yeah.
and not necessarily why they want to use the word. You know what they're trying to hide behind the word.
Well, okay. Well, I mean,
well done with that one.
Well, okay, fair enough. I mean, no, I mean, this is the world I grew up in. It is a. I think it's quite good. I think it's a good initiative. Look, I'm saying it's a good initiative from my point of view. Okay, okay. I'm playing it this way, but I've just told you that if you're going to use these buzzwords, you have something behind it. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm back over to you because yeah, I am all for community. I don't like the term community. I'm all for people coming together and building a strong local area and cohesion. I'm all for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you ask, I need to ask myself is why they're wanting to bring this word in and why they're wanting to spread it around. And it must be because of the failures of the communities that they've been governing. Surely, it's to take your mind away from thinking of all the problems we've got in the country, both in our community and on a national scale.
Yeah.
And make you think about your soup kitchen, your local soup kitchen. How can I help in a local soup kitchen? Because I'll be contributing that way. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
instead of trying to solve the problems on a political level, either on a council level or a national level,
yeah,
they basically this government has done is put the ball in your court. You sort it out. You sort it out. You make your community better.
Well, which now brings me to my where I'm opening up. Okay, I was talking about the local councillors who should be the people looking on the ground at
this. the guy that you mentioned about the boxing club.
Yeah.
Right. That's how it should be.
Yes.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
Right. But where there's one that does that, there are about 100 that don't.
Yes.
And they leave everything. They just leave everything to rot. You look at Birmingham Council, right? And the problem that they got with the rubbish.
Yes.
Right? And they just let that didn't happen overnight. That situation didn't happen overnight. They just let it to rot. And what it's basically what the national government is saying now to the people of Birmingham: contribution. You pick the rubbish up. See how you can make your life better.
Yeah.
You pick the rubbish up and discard of the rubbish. Don't worry about the council. It's up to you. And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Or it's going to happen when this word comes into. I think it's coming in next month or something like that.
Well, if the government is still in place, yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I was saying when you were talking about, I mean, it's just the buzzword. Yeah. I mean, okay. if you see a bit of rubbish on the ground, I mean, we have litter pickers where I come from as well. Occasionally, people go along and collect up rubbish from the local beach. Yeah, I come from the sea. Yeah, but we have that in Brazil as well. Yeah, I've seen it on the news. Obviously, it's good. People are going along, put rubbish, and I agree with you. What's the rubbish doing there in the first place? Yeah. People throw things on the street and everything. Well, that's partly what they say here, arts education. Yeah, I mean, even here, if I see a bit of rubbish next to it, I pick it up and put it in the bin. Partly because I don't want a dog eating it or a creature or something else like that. Yeah, and I live near a canal, and you see the rubbish collected in the canal. But again, that's here. That's not in the UK, but the same principle applies. Yeah, I know. Well, okay, yeah. Well, we can all do our bit to contribute, and that's what we should be doing anyway in any society, contributing our bit, try and be an understanding, like you say, make sure rubbish does go in the bins. Make sure that we try and live as close as we can according to local rules of our area, and establishment, and maybe looking on check the old person down the road is okay and all that. To me, that's quite normal, and that's what we should be doing anyway as human beings. Yeah. So the government telling me that I should be a normal human being. Okay, fair enough. Who isn't being a normal human being? Why has the society started to fail? Yeah. Okay. Nothing's ever been perfect. Yeah.
Right. So we're getting there now. You know, we're getting there now. Why has society got to the state of where it has, where it is? Once again, it wasn't done overnight.
No, I mean, I remember every day like we do here, where we have rubbish collection every day. We used to have that in the UK, rubbish collection. I'm just using this, yeah. Now, I heard, who is it? One, celebrity, an actor, who was a Labour voter, from what I could tell, complaining that every day that now, if he wants to have something removed special from his house or something else picked up, he has to pay extra. He says, but I pay my rates. I've already done that. I've already paid for it. I've done my bit to contribute, if you like, contribute to the society financially. Why do I now have to do something else? Pay for extras for something that should be done automatically? Yes, I agree. And if councils,
there used to be a time in the UK where you could take your old sofa or take your old TV set and take it to the local tip, and you know, and there are tips specifically for.
We had that. Yeah.
But these days you can't.
Well, not everywhere. No,
it depends. These days it has to be picked up by somebody, and you have to pay that little extra so that it happens.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's got to the point it's ridiculous. And we used to have a tip of, I don't know in my local area if the tip is still free or if they combined it, they did something. We used to take things in. Used to have a guy used to be at the gate, check what was going in there. Yeah. I've seen some where they've actually got uranium things, scanners for uranium as well, and things like this. But that would depend on the local area. And these things, it worked as a system that worked. They got it quite efficiently. Okay, it was a company operated it themselves. It was a private concern. I think it's a local businessman who took it over actually, and he did quite a good job of it. Yeah, he was paid by the council, or he arranged for the disposal of things through controlled way, scrap metal or be it whatever it was, and it worked. Okay, private part, if you like, the local private public partnership, and it worked. Yeah. Now, okay, you can argue the pros and cons of that, but that's an example where it did actually work, and everyone that used the service and the council had no complaints. It worked. Yeah. It's when, I mean, what you're telling me is what I've been arguing for a while. Why do we need politicians? In effect, if they're not going to be doing anything. Yeah. If you're saying local communities should look after themselves, I totally agree. I do not want big government. I do not want authorities dealing into everything in my life, telling me how to live. Yeah. And I totally agree with them. Let's have smaller government. Let's have more local, regionalised government. I agree with that. I see it.
700,
Yeah.
750,000 new jobs have been created uh, uh, for civil servants.
Doing what?
Look at my cheeks.
I mean, in a successful economy, you don't need to create jobs. They'll be created.
That's right. In the private sector, by the way, 950,000 jobs have been lost. Just to
Well, everything's going to be, that's going to be blamed on everything else. I mean, Brexit gets blamed for just about anything and everything that has always happened. I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous. Yeah, I agree.
but contribution. Perhaps it's because I'm a cynical old sod and I'm looking too much into it. But I think that it's there's a ruse there somewhere. And if it's to save councils money, if it's to so they can spend it on these extra civil servants, I don't know. I don't know. But it's
Well,
just these days, you've got to have eyes in the back of your head when it comes to politicians.
well,
And,
I mean, I mean, people like you and me will go online and we'll look at how the council's spending our money and what the jobs are and find out what the salaries are. And I bet I could go through and I could be like a certain politician in our local area who went along and pulled off the the post-its off the wall. Yeah. Um, yeah, and I'm a bit off with him today over a couple of things he said yesterday. But yeah, it's a this always seems to happen. These things work in circles. I mean, okay, um, and yes, if I feel I'm in a position to contribute to someone, it doesn't necessarily cost me anything, or it's of no consequence to me. I don't mind doing it. To tell me I've got to do somebody else's job, and like you say, if there's somebody sitting in an office with their feet sitting on on their desk, sort of thing, looking out the window, having been told, do you mind not looking out the window in the morning?
can't do that, sir. They're working from home.
Do you mind not looking out your window in the morning? You've got to save that for the afternoon.
Look, there's a citizen there taking his rubbish to the tip. Oh, look.
Yeah. He's struggling down the road. This poor old man struggling down the road. I'm not going to go out and help him. I might, yeah, that's against my rule. That's not in my job description. And yeah, I might injure myself doing it. I need a risk assessment to do it. Yeah.